Yo, one thing I could never do is judge or trust someone that is dead broke. Cause if I was dead broke, there is nothing I wouldn't do, bro. Like nothing. I don't care. Nothing's off limits, bro. Yo, I slam on my own boy. I'm so sorry. If you see this, any of my guys, just make sure I don't go broke. I'm comfy right now. But if I'm ever starving for like 7 consecutive days, I promise you I'll do anything for just a little bit of cash so I can eat some food, bro. There's nothing off limits. Quick one as well. I don't want to hear nothing about morals or ethics. Cause you would do madness but you're hungry. Now imagine being starving every single day and there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, I'm sliming you out, bro. I don't care.
Hello everyone, this is Emmanuel Cook. We will be reacting to a new video today, so make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's get into the video.
Y'all, I used to worry about money so much. My whole life. I feel like there's never been a time in life that I wasn't worried about money. And the thing about when you're worried about money, it feels like the worst stress. Like you feel it in your chest. Like I can't eat, I can't breathe. You may be talking to me, people might be having fun. People might be laughing. And then I feel like, haha, it must be nice. I wish I could laugh.
Oh, you changed. Oh, you just don't want to hang out with us anymore. I don't invite you anymore because you just could never come. When you're facing financial hardship and your husband has to take like a job with inconvenient hours or money's just tight and you cannot show up to certain things, and I wish people would tell you this, that when you are financially stable and you're able to just drop everything and go with friends, go with family, it's great. But when money is tight and you kind of have to just decline it because you don't want to give everybody a personal story, it's not their right to know it, but these are the things that you need to prepare yourself from. You're going to hear that you've changed. You're going to hear like, oh, we didn't invite you because you never come anymore. And they will never respect the fact that you used to show up for everything, but as soon as your husband had to get a job far away from home, it was hard for you to show up. But that will be their excuse. And then I feel like, just so you remember, don't take it to the heart. Just remember that what matters is your home. And at the end of the day, no matter what your friends and family say, the only thing that matters is your home. And if you are facing financial hardship, it's not your job to let them know. It is their job to understand. And if they don't, then perfectly fine. They weren't your people.
$20 an hour in this economy is not a livable wage. At my last job back in Omaha, Nebraska, I was making about $20 an hour, $20.52 an hour to be exact, and it was not enough to pay my bills even as somebody who does not have kids, does not have anybody else to financially support besides a cat who's playing with a toy on the floor. But yeah, I could not make $20 an hour work. So who the hell can, right? Like, and some people are going to say, learn how to budget better. Well, there's only so much you can do when things are so damn expensive, but your wages do not increase with inflation. I was living with a roommate back in Omaha when I was working this job. So I was only paying half of the rent and the bills for the apartment. I was also working from home 3 days a week at this job, so I only had to commute to the office twice a week. And I'm also a homebody and I don't really go anywhere else other than work, so a tank of gas would last me more than 2 weeks. I wasn't really doing a whole lot more spending other than what I needed to live. Groceries, food, shelter, all that stuff. Like, if I did buy clothes for myself, I went to secondhand stores. I hardly ever did anything for myself. Hardly went out to eat. Maybe a few times a month I would go out to eat or I would order in, but that's it, Oh yeah, let's talk about how fucking expensive groceries are. When I first moved out on my own in 2018, 2019, I could go get a week's worth of groceries for about $50. Now I can barely spend over $100 just for me. Yeah. It's ridiculous. And then people want to tell us, work harder, go get a second job. And I tried that, and I'm autistic, and working more than 40 hours a week is just something I can't do, or I really, really, really burn myself out. So, yeah. If I couldn't even survive as one person with no kids on $20 an hour, then who the fuck can survive on $7.25 an hour? No, nobody can. Unless you are in high school and you live with your parents and they pay all the bills, you can't survive on that. I don't care if somebody is a doctor or a CEO or if they're a janitor. People should be able to afford a place to live, food to eat, and they shouldn't have to struggle. If you work a full-time job, you shouldn't have to struggle. And it's ridiculous that even jobs that pay what you would consider decent are not enough to live.
I feel like ever since me and my husband got together, ever since we started dating, we have just been struggling on and off with money. Like when we first started dating, we were financially stable. We even bought a house together. Like we were both working full time, like him being in the military and then me working my full-time job. Like we were doing good. And then not too long after we moved in together, we found out we were pregnant with our son. And at the same time, we found out that the house that we had bought was flipped incorrectly. Even though we did have an inspector inspect the house, which we did report that inspector, but yeah, so it became a whole huge issue and we couldn't sue the previous owner of the house because he was also a military member who like went off to Hawaii. So we ended up having to fit the bill ourselves and pay $35,000 to fix that house. And by the time our son was born, it was not safe to live in. It just wasn't. Like there was so many issues, plumbing and electrical on the house, it was not safe to live in. So we had to go into base housing. So all of our basic housing allowance was being taken by the base housing. So then we had to pay out of pocket ourselves for the house that we still owned and was fixing, on top of paying to fix that house. And so for a year and a half, we were living off the food bank. So fast forward to a year and a half later, we finally are done fixing the house and we sell it. Luckily, we made enough of a profit off of it to pay off the debts that we accrued from the house. And not too long after we sell this house, I want to say like 3 or 4 months later, we find out that we are pregnant with our daughter very early on. And then we also get orders to move to a completely different state. Now, unfortunately, the new station that we were going to did not have housing for almost 3 months. So me, my pregnant self, my son, we had to go to another state to live with our family for those months until we could get military housing. So we finally get military housing, we moved to that state, and all during this as well, my husband went away to training before this. So my husband missed a lot of my pregnancy. Like he literally got me pregnant, then went off to training, and then not too long after that we got orders. So he missed a lot of my pregnancy with my daughter, which was very upsetting. But he was at least there for the majority of the 3rd trimester. And again, during all of this, even the moving process, we were still doing okay. We were still doing good, a lot better than before. But then inflation hits us. Gas prices skyrocket, eggs go to like $8 for a dozen here. And this is all right before I have my daughter, so I decided to start couponing. And then, because I was couponing so fucking much, we were financially stable again, for the most part. And we were doing a lot better. And then I had my daughter, and then 3 months after I had my daughter, I had to go in to have surgery, and unfortunately, my breast milk supply took a huge hit, and we had to move her on to formula, and we found out that she had a lot of food allergies, so she had to go on a special type of hypoallergenic formula. And then we started struggling again because all while this was happening, inflation was getting much, much worse, as it still is currently. So now we're back to just barely surviving. And honestly, I feel like as somebody who's a Gen Z, ever since I got out of high school, my life has just been up and down because of the economy. Who else feels like this?
If you're unemployed, how are you mentally? Because I lost my job several months ago, and a bitch is struggling mentally and financially and emotionally and physically. Like, why is it so hard to find a job? And at this point, any job. I don't know if it's like, sorry, I was eating a peanut butter sandwich. I don't know if I need like a career change, because I worked in social media management for brands for the past like 10 years. And I can't get one fucking job. I got in like a couple phone interviews, but I'm like, fuck working for brands. Brands ain't shit. Like, I love social media, obviously, but like if I could do it for myself. And I love creating, but it's just some of these brands are like, it's crazy out here. So if you're unemployed or if you're hiring, hit me up. I will literally do anything for a paycheck right now. I don't know if I need a career change, if I need to just move to Mexico and live off my family's land, or what. I'm just rambling, but like I'm going to crash out. That's how bad it is.
This is a very vulnerable video because I just got done having a mental breakdown. But to all of my single gals out there who like live on their own and like get all of their stuff for themselves on their own, I am proud of you, because I am one of those people and it is so hard sometimes. Like, I feel so secure in being single and being on my own, and I really enjoy it, but the hardest factor of it is money. Like, it's so hard to feel so good being single but wish so badly that you just had like a partner to be able to rely on a little bit as well. Like you guys could both rely on each other when it comes to finances and stuff like that, like rent, groceries, just anything. Like it's honestly so hard sometimes seeing my friends who are pretty much all in long-term relationships and living with their significant others. And meanwhile, I just made a spreadsheet of like the things that my money goes towards, because I'm looking for a new apartment, and apartments are so expensive right now, especially just to live alone. Like, why do some places want you to like cough up over $2,000 for like a 300 square foot apartment that's like a studio apartment? It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, I should be able to support myself on my income and be able to afford my rent, but I can't, because all of you crappy landlords out there want to charge literally an arm and a leg for me to be able to have a roof over my head. Anyways, the point of this video is just saying, for all of you girlies out there taking care of yourselves, I see you, because it is not easy to do. And I don't know, any girls who are out there being able to do that and like being able to pay their rent and also occasionally do things that they enjoy, or maybe treat themselves to something every now and then, how are you doing it? How are you doing it? Because I think I might be at my breaking point.
Okay, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about how depression keeps you broke. About a year and a half ago, I was going through the process of my divorce and was just mentally like completely checked out. Like I was experiencing like crazy financial ruin, trying to pick up the pieces of my life, trying to take care of a toddler. It was just a lot going on, and I just had episodes where I was completely depressed. So I ended up having to get my really nice like luxury vehicle repossessed, and ended up having to get this kind of like cheap cash car. And in the whole process, me just trying to transfer the car into my name and get insurance for it, like I totally dropped the ball. I did not realize that the insurance agent had put my luxury car on my insurance policy and did not put the new one that I had in fact just gotten on my insurance policy. But now that I'm in a space now where I'm emotionally healthy, I'm taking care of myself, I'm trying to get back on my business, looking at all my paperwork, being like, okay, what needs to go, what needs to stay? I was like, oh my gosh, this car's on my insurance policy. So I call and ask, like, what is the rate now, like with the car that I have, bought last year that was supposed to be on my insurance policy? And come to find out, I was paying double what I should have been paying this whole time. But honestly, it was like the mental load of just even going through paperwork and trying to get a new car, having my other one, repossessed, like the whole thing, like it was just so overwhelming to me. And I was in such a depressed state. Like I didn't even go through the entire contract to see that she had changed the car info. Now, scenario 2, my daughter goes to a school that is kind of on the expensive side, and she does get it like subsidized. So the program that I go through, they have all these different protocols, things that they do. And like maybe several months ago, I realized I couldn't log into my portal. Now, this portal is like what you log into as a parent when you need to like pay the other balance, or like they give you updates on like, what you need to kind of keep your child on the program. So all of a sudden I get a call from my child's principal talking about like, oh, like they're not paying for this month. Like you're going to have to come up with it if they don't, because they haven't sent me any paperwork for this month. So several months ago, when I realized my portal wasn't working, I should have called then. But being in a state of just depression and everything, I was like, well, whatever. If there's really, really like some sort of terrible issue, they'll email me or call me or whatever. And I just kind of like let it fly. So I'm like frantically on the phone, like this whole month, just like going back and forth with them, trying to figure out what the issue is. They can't figure out what the issue is. It turns out there's some sort of glitch in their system or whatever, but they ended up being able to fix the issue. But over the past, I want to say 1.5 to 2 years of me just having like ups and downs of going through depression, like I could literally see either the money that I'd left on the table or being overcharged by different companies just because I'm in such a depressed state. Like even just going through the mail sometimes like was a huge burden to me. So if you're somebody who struggles with depression like heavily, and you're just like, why can't I get on the ball with my finances? Like, why am I always in the negative? Why am I always stressed out about money? Like there's definitely a correlation there. Like I'm not even gonna lie, but you're not incapable. It's just honestly your depression is getting in the way of you being financially stable and you being on top of your finances and stuff.
Bro, this is so true. There is no way that you can earn a good living when you are depressed. There's just no way. Your mind is just gone. You're sad, you're tired, like it is just a lot for you. And you lose out on earning an income. And it is for a very long time, honestly. For months. For some people, years. When you are depressed, you make very foolish mistakes, which costs you money in the long run. So she is totally right about that.
A quick reminder, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's continue the video.
Overwhelmed, overstimulated, and stressed and disassociated are all things I feel currently as a 24-year-old single mom. Trust me when I say this, and I say this in the best way possible. I'm thankful to have my house, but I'm stressing out so bad. My house is $3,100 a month, my mortgage, and I originally bought this house when I was still with my daughter's dad. We separated a year ago exactly, where he no longer lived in the house, so he was no longer providing the payment for the house, and so it's just been on me. And as much as I love having my house, the payment is what puts me like in this headspace every end of the month coming up to the first of the month. Now, not only that, I have $23,000 in credit card debt. I honestly don't know. After becoming a single mom, I ended up pretty much adding more debt to myself because I was having to use my credit card to pay for groceries, to pay for diapers, to pay for the basic necessities that me and my daughter need day to day. And it wasn't until earlier in August when I decided to start keeping my daughter home, where I was no longer paying childcare, and that money from child support was just, for my daughter to have here at home versus just all of it going to childcare. So since then, my credit card usage has stopped. I've been able to, pay for all my necessities since she stays home with me, and I've been able to manage my house payment. And I don't know. I feel like I'm already open with other parts of my life, so I might as well just share this part of my journey where I figure out what to do with my living status, whether I keep the house, whether I sell it, whether I find more roommates, or I just, tough it out. Now, as of right now, I'm just toughing it out. I actually started a new job next weekend. Well, a second job next weekend on the weekends. Since I don't have my daughter on the weekends, she goes with her dad. I might as well work like at an actual job at an establishment as a server. So I'm so excited. I don't know. I just felt like being vulnerable, and I know vulnerable isn't always the best thing. I don't know. Hopefully, my TikTok page can grow. So I haven't been so active on here just because I've been in a different headspace. Ando muy desanimada lately. Like, I just don't want to do things. But es algo que primeramente Dios, this is just temporary. This is just one of those hardships that I have to go through. I will see the light at the end of the tunnel. I will see the light at the end of the tunnel with keeping this house, with paying my credit cards, and just, having and providing everything that I can for my daughter for her future, Here where we are, we have amazing friends and family near us. I don't have my parents as I wish I did, but eventually maybe my parents will move up here. Who knows?
I just really need to vent about the feeling of feeling successful but not having the bank account to show for it, because I don't think enough people on here talk about the struggles of one, starting a business. I'm 3 years into being self-employed, and I knew I was gonna have to take that temporary setback because it just takes so much to get things going. But holy shitteroni. I also am someone, I'm 31 now. I became a single mom at 24. I had $0 money. My parents had to help me when I was first starting out. Single mom at 24. I racked up a lot of credit card debt in my 20s, okay? Racked up a lot of credit card debt because I did not make enough money for a long time to even break even. So lots of credit card debt, definitely made some irresponsible, I think more so in the last 2 years, given that I had such my business grew pretty fast, and instead of being responsible with my money, I definitely made some irresponsible decisions. Okay. I will not, I have no shame in admitting that. But now it's also the struggle of I've been working with a financial advisor to work on my racked up credit card debt, because I'm a hairstylist. Specifically, I work heavily in weddings, so I make a lot of money May through October. I don't make a lot of money. My income drastically decreases November through April. But every time I make more money, I put so much of that towards my credit card debt. I pile all of it on, obviously, and paying taxes, everything. But so then I don't save any money to help me get through the winter. So then in the winter time, I rack up the credit card debt because I simply need to make ends meet. And it's just this vicious cycle. And now it's I like owe so much on like my health insurance, and my car payment is an absolute bitch because there's no such thing as affordable car payments anymore. And I don't have enough money for down payments to finance a car. So I have to lease my car, and leases are awful. And, business insurance is coming up, and just so many things. And it's just this endless vicious cycle. And I'm trying so hard not to like be this. Like I literally, the amount of times I pray, like, I know everything's going to work out. I've gotten this far and I've been in worse situations. I know everything's going to be fine. And I'm like way more, like, yeah, me getting my nails done is like the one thing I treat myself with. Yeah, once a month I might DoorDash something for me and my daughter, and I might get the like once a month, twice a month, like treat myself to like a coffee out or something. But like I am very mindful of how I spend my money. I don't go on these crazy shopping sprees. Like when I buy things, they're things I need. But it is like the most frustrating, like suffocating feeling when you are so successful and so many people like look up to you and want to get advice from you, and like you love your job and like you're doing all the things right, but like there's just like I feel like sometimes this is so toxic. I feel like I have like nothing to show for it. I'm like, how am I so successful but still struggling so much? And I know I'm rich in life. I'm healthy. My daughter's healthy. We have a roof over our head. We have food in the fridge. I have a car to drive. Like I do have a car to drive. I know I have all these things, but
I genuinely forget how poor I am compared to my college friends until I got a phone call from my college friend who I haven't spoken to in years. He randomly called me because he was high, but we ended up talking. We started talking about working in the nonprofit world, which I have been working in since I was like 19. And he was just like, life's hard, we're broke. And I was like, you're telling me I've been working on this for a minute now? And he was like, yeah, I remember in college, senior year, you were working with Miss Nikki. Mind you, I love her to death. She is a woman who started a nonprofit in a town that is literally unsafe for Black people to live in as a Black woman, to help them have resources that these white kids have that they did. And I was like, okay, first of all, I love Nikki, but she wasn't my first internship. My first internship was at 19 because I am a child of immigrant parents. I don't have resources to get internships, to have other jobs, or to like not work at all. And then I explained Nikki is actually the first boss I had that worked at a nonprofit who paid me. Before that, I worked at nonprofits in Chicago where I was unpaid. He was like, oh, okay, well, I didn't know that. But working is still hard, and I want to be like our parents. You know how our parents are always vacationing? My face went like, you know how our parents are always vacationing? Bitch, my parents literally this past summer could not afford to keep our water warm. Our gas bill was too expensive for them. My mom works in a factory. My dad paints cars. So I said this to him, and I was like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. He did not know how to respond. He was just like, oh, well, I'm trying to be like my parents. This kid literally called me to talk about how he felt grateful about life and everything, and how he really wanted to be like his parents, and he just felt a little stuck. And I was like, I can't relate to it all because I am the richest person in my family. Like in my immediate family, I am the richest person. That says a lot. I don't have a lot of money. I live at home. I'm saving money so I can move out again. There was just a huge difference, and I just kind of like, I got a little icked out. I'm not gonna lie. I still love my friend. I'm not gonna out him. I'm not gonna say who it is. But I felt so like it was a disingenuous conversation because I was just like, what you're discovering now is what I have never had this experience. I can't understand, and I can't empathize or sympathize with you because I don't know what it's like growing up with money and vacations and having parents pay for piano classes or like stuff like that. I don't have luxuries to look forward to. I have to build some sort of equity so I can have these luxuries.
I figured it out. I figured out why I don't remember the 2008 recession. I'm 35, which means in 2008, I was 18 turning 19. I remember voting for Obama, but I don't remember like the economic climate of that time. Here's why. Y'all, I was a freshman in college. I was a broke college student. When you are a broke college student, every year is a recession year. I didn't know it was any different what I was doing than what everybody else was doing. If you want to know how to survive this potentially upcoming recession that we're going to be going through, talk to a college student. Don't nobody know how to make money stretch like a college student. You want to know how to jazz up some ramen? Ask a college student. You want to know how to survive off very little money? for weeks and months, a semester at a time, talk to a college student. But when I tell you we was having so much fun with very little, shout out to UC Fellowship, shout out to DOC, shout out to Spiritual Movement. We had so much fun. We didn't have a lot, but what we had, we shared it with each other. College students have a PhD in potlucks. That's how a lot of us ate. Yeah, it makes sense that I remember the 2008 recession, because I was living in a recession for the next 5 years. College students, this is your chance to shine. Let us know. Help us out. If you are a broke college student, tell me all of your food money hacks, like how you make it from semester to semester before the next FAFSA refund comes.
So overall, who is struggling the most? Is it students? Is it parents? Is it single parents? Is it young adults? Is it single people? Who is struggling the most? In my personal experience, the people that are struggling the most are, number one, students and young adults. Number two, single parents are going through it.
This comment made me chuckle. The only people scared are the new poors. Us old poors got this. And I was just like, that is so true. As this whole stock market is crashing and whatnot, it's like people are, oh my God, where's all my money going to go? What am I going to do? It's just like the same stuff that black people and brown people who've been oppressed for decades or hundreds of years have been doing. Like, welcome to the party. It's like, I was listening to this Bernie Sanders rally. It was a Bernie Sanders rally. We love Bernie. But he was like asking the crowd, like, you know, what does this economic time feel like for you? And they were like, living paycheck to paycheck. And I'm just like, my mama and daddy lived paycheck to paycheck my whole childhood. And it was like, not having to choose between food and glasses for your kids. And I was just like, been there, done that. My parents we never had nice glasses. We never had the nice glasses, never had the Ray-Bans, never had the thick frames. We had those ugly wire framed glasses with the thick Coke bottles. We couldn't, afford the thin ones. Like, no, you had the with little dot. And they were like, oh, you can't afford new shoes for your kids. I'm just like, I always had hand-me-down shoes, hand-me-down clothes, thrift store shopping. If we had a nice organization who would help us, that would be great. But it was just like, I don't know, they just kept naming all these things that were my everyday growing up. And I'm just like, y'all are just experiencing this for the first time? Like, y'all stretching out a meal, beans and rice is delicious. Uzu noodles, I don't know what y'all call it. Some people call it soup, some other people call it ramen. We called it uzu noodles when I was growing up. I'm just like, hey, welcome to the party. Like, poor eating, food deserts, having to have fast food. Well, fast food is expensive nowadays, because I got a whole video on that if you want to go look at what's happening to fast food. Fast food ain't cheap. It used to be cheap. It ain't cheap no more. But anyways, it's just like, I am no longer a poor, but if I have to go back to being a poor, I've got muscle memory. So it ain't gonna be no thing but a chicken wing. It's a different day, same circumstances is what it would be. So that's all. Welcome to the party, new poors. I hope you like the party. We have good music here, so we have a good time. The thing about being poor that I do enjoy is that you're not constrained by societal opinion nearly as much as I climb out of poverty and climb the corporate ladder and all this stuff. It's like, you guys care so much about your image and how you're perceived, but like when you're poor, it's like, I don't know, you have nothing to lose. You really living your life having nothing to lose is liberating. That is one thing I love about being Black and being at the bottom of the social totem pole. It's like, you can be yourself. You can be your most free self, because no one can take anything from you. But the richer you are in society and the more like you climb this societal ladder, you have so much to lose, and so you become so rigid and so like by the book, and that's why I feel like a lot of Caucasian people are like, all of you, like not all, but like a lot of Caucasian people are like, blonde, even though they're not blonde, they just dye their hair blonde a lot, and they're like all the same shape, and they all kind of have the same nose and same look. They all like morph into this same person because they're afraid of being different, because they have this society, this status in society, and if you are a little bit different, you run the risk of being ostracized from your societal totem pole and losing it all. But when you are a person of color, you don't have anything but your friends, your family, and your culture. And so you can only be yourself, because if you try to be someone else, it's like, it's weird and it's pointless. It's pointless to be someone else when you have nothing to lose. So, we wear different color hair and different. So like, I'm like, even the way I look right now, this is to blend in. This is to blend into the society that I've climb myself into. But this is not how I would look if I didn't have the job that I had, if I didn't have to talk to the people I have to talk to. Like, I wouldn't look like this at all. So anyways, that went really left. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
I am so convinced Black people love to see each other struggle. What do I mean by that? Literally, this economy, not the mascara, this economy is so crazy. Yes, I can afford my rent, but I could also be paying my mom's rent, her mortgage for the amount that I pay my rent, and still saving. So I'm over here like, Mom, can I move in with you, back in with you? Like, mind you, I do not have kids. I do not have a man. Like, it's just straight me. She's like, no, you cannot move back in. Like, you know, all the issues with your dad and all this type of stuff. And it's just like, girl, I'm willing to risk my time and my efforts just so that I can save money, so that I can level myself up in the next year. And you're just over here just like, no, like in a house. And it's just so mind-boggling to me, because it's just like, what? Every other ethnic background can help each other, but
I appreciate you guys watching the video today. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.